Hi everybody, it's Yamila here with your COVID Victory Garden. So the last couple of episodes you saw me at my dining table late at night, and I showed you about planting lettuce in your windowsill, some things you could plant in your garden like right now, and some things you might want to plant a little bit later in the season. But that's not actually the work of gardening, the actual getting dirty outside in the garden. So now that you have that base knowledge, what do you do with it? How do you actually do the planting? So if you've never made a garden before, I'm going to show you a couple of lazy ways of making gardens. I like lazy gardening. I like not having to work quite so hard because I'm figuring out how nature does its thing and how to let nature work for me. So I'm going to show you a couple of techniques for lazy gardening, both for gardening right this minute and for getting those garden beds set up so that come May 15th, in a couple of short weeks, next 6 weeks, you'll be able to go ahead and plant all those summer vegetables. So let's get started. Okay, so here I am. This is just a side garden bed on the side of my house. There's not much going on here. It just looks like really low grass. This is where my pea plants are going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my favorite making a garden bed tool, and that is wet cardboard. See that? So I got some cardboard because we got some deliveries, and I made sure to soak it really well, and I'm just going to lay that cardboard down right over here where I want to put that garden bed. Normally I would say make sure to peel all the tape off of the cardboard before you use it. Unfortunately, I didn't do that, and I did soak it first, so I'm not going to take it off. It just means that later on in the season, I'm going to end up having to find bits of plastic tape in my garden, which is not great, but it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and breaking apart here. And I'm going to put this down in my garden. So what this cardboard is going to be doing for me is it's going to be smothering all the stuff that is underneath here. So I've got grass and a bunch of weeds, some thistles that are growing up. I don't want those in my garden. I actually want my garden bed to be made up of things like peas and kale and stuff like that. So if you don't have a ton of cardboard, you can open it up, break it apart, and lay it flat. But in this case, I'm going to do a smaller garden bed, so I'm just going to keep it doubled up. Thin mints. Oh, the days of thin mints. So, there we go. Look at that, gardening part 1. You've heard all the people, oh, I've got to till, I've got to take out the grass. This is the easiest way to do it. The cardboard will smother all that stuff underneath, and will make, that'll all kind of rot down and actually add more nutrients to your soil. While it's rotting down, you're going to be growing something on top of this. So what I'm going to do next, again, super simple. I happen to have a couple of bags of topsoil. See how dirty they are? Just floating around behind my shed here. So I'm going to open that up and throw that down just right on top of my cardboard. If you've got a layer of compost, that would be actually excellent to use. My compost there isn't enough of it yet because I just harvested it all in the fall, so it's not quite ready yet. So here I am putting down a layer of soil over that cardboard. So what's going to happen is all those weeds under there, they're just going to get smothered. They're just going to add more nutrients. They're going to rot down and add stuff into my soil. That cardboard's not going to last. By midsummer, it'll be nothing, and you'll dig down, you won't even know that there was cardboard there once. So you can put that down as much as you need to make your garden bed. And I'm going to put down a second layer, make it a little deeper. As you see, I'm not going to do it over the whole thing because I'm going to show you a different technique for the other half of this. So this is what I would would suggest you do if you want to start planting pretty much right away. Plant roots are incredibly strong. They will break through all sorts of things. I've seen plant roots break rocks. So I'm not so worried about planting right into this soil because there's cardboard underneath. A plant root will get through that. Besides, the cardboard's already wet and already kind of floppy, so it'll break down in no time. It won't cause barrier at all for those roots. There we go. Garden bed, really simple. No tilling, no digging. As long as you're strong enough to pick up a bag of soil and you've got some cardboard laying around, you can make a garden anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some snow peas. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, and it's about 45 or 50 degrees out there, which is warm enough to put down peas, certainly. I also checked the weather. We are not looking at getting cold, too cold for peas anymore. The weather report for the next 10 days is keeping the temperature somewhere above 50, even getting up to 60 one day. So I'm perfectly confident that these will do absolutely fine right now. So I'm just going to take a seed and poke it down, and take another seed about 6 inches apart and poke that right down, and poke and poke and poke. I'm just making a row of these. I'm not so worried about them needing a trellis to climb on over here. This is kind of the back of my bed because the front of my bed is actually facing that way. And I'm also not so worried about the placement because peas are a really short-lived thing to have in your garden. Here we go. I just planted a dozen pea plants right there. So peas are really short-lived in the garden. They're only going to be there for the months of March and April and May, and then they're going to be out of there. So by the time it warms up, I'll be munching on snow peas, and I'll be getting ready to put something else in that spot. Now, as far as trellising is concerned, here's a couple options for you. I have an old tomato cage. It probably won't be tall enough ultimately to support all these peas because they're going to get taller than this, but I have it. And gardening during a pandemic is not about the ideal, it's about what you have and how you can make use of it. So I'm just going to put this here. I've got another one that I can use, but the other thing I can do is this. Later on in the season, when they get bigger, I can just pile this right on top and extend the height. So now, you know, it's 4 feet tall instead of 3 feet tall. Another option, if you don't have an old tomato cage to use, you can always use a stake. This is a big old plastic tomato stake that is, well, taller than me. Way taller than me. It's probably 8 feet tall. Way taller than I probably need it to be, but I have it. I'm just going to pick a spot and drive it in as far as I can. And when the pea tendrils start to come up, I'm just going to make sure that they wrap around here. Third option. Look at that. It's just a stick. Nice kind of long stick. It's got some, it goes into 3 directions at the top here. So that'll be fine too. I'm going to stick this in. And because my cardboard is pretty soft from being wet, this is just going right in. And there you go. A very rustic looking pea trellis. So that's all you need to do. Find something to be a support, whether it's a formal thing that you bought at a garden center, an old rusty thing that you kind of reclaimed and spray painted, which is what I did with this, or just a branch you find in your yard. That'll work too. Now, I'm going to go to lazy garden number 2. I'm going to aim the camera a little bit further over. Okay, so lazy garden number 2 is for when you're not planting right now. So that means I don't need the soil to be ready right now. I need it to be ready, I don't know, in about 6 or 8 weeks. My wet cardboard is down there, and I'm going to use stuff like wood chips, dead leaves, old brush, cuttings from my garden. I'm just going to make a pile of stuff. Here is a pile of wet, half-decomposed leaves from a different section of my garden. I'm going to pile that up nice and tall right there. Get some more. Done. What? That's easy? Yeah, that easy. All I'm doing is making a pile of brown materials on top of my cardboard, probably about 6 inches deep, 8 inches deep, and I'm going to let that all rot down for a while. So by the time my peas are up, that's going to start to rot down. It's going to kill the weeds underneath, and I'll have some nice weed-free soil underneath there that I can start planting into in May. Wood chips are great for it. Wood chips are often free. You can get them from a lot of municipalities. So for instance, here in Ithaca, I know that the city of Ithaca has a free wood chip pile. You can just go and take wood chips for your home use all you want. It's over by the golf course. A lot of municipalities have that kind of thing. The one thing to be concerned about though, if you're going to use your free supply like wood chips, is make sure you don't have Asian jumping worms. I know around this area, Asian jumping worms are kind of a problem. They look like earthworms, kind of, only if earthworms had gotten really big and gross. And they move really fast, like way faster than an earthworm. It looks like some sort of crazy snake. And those are not great for our soil, for our ecosystems. They actually eat way more and way faster than our earthworms that we're used to around here. And so what they're actually doing is they're destroying understories in our forests and natural areas. So you really don't want them in your garden if you can help it. So if you're going to go get free material from somewhere else, make sure it's clear of those worms. And I think that's it for today. Really simple, really easy. Don't sweat it. Do what you can when you can. Thanks.